you haven't seen the big ab gains you want to be getting so far, right? And you're probably pretty unsatisfied, okay? And just to show you who I am, I'm Orpheus, a 16-year-old calisthenics athlete. I've built up my abs pretty nicely, as you can see here. I've also dipped, this was just yesterday, I actually dipped 40 kilos for, this was 7 reps, I think. And I also helped quite a few people do similar transformations to mine, like Nafshan here, 10 kilo weighted pull-up, 32 kilo weighted pull-up in about 3 months. And what you're probably doing right now is you either don't train abs or you're doing cardio. Okay, this is explanatory. What I mean by you're doing cardio is you're doing ab cardio, okay? You're doing ab cardio, meaning that you're doing like planks, you're doing like Russian twists, stuff like that, which don't actually benefit your ab gains, okay? And this stops you from looking good because, okay, well, the abs are a pretty functional muscle, but at the end of the day, you know, like, it's mainly for looking good, to be honest. So these are the exact steps we're gonna take to fix up your ab training and get a nice six-pack like I have. So step 1 is figure out how you're training wrong right now. Okay, so implement, you know, the actual right strategy in your brain, and then figure out how you should actually train abs. And third, we're just gonna go about how to actually put it into your program. Okay, step 1, you're training wrong. Okay, imagine you're doing a bicep curl. You wouldn't train your bicep like this, right? You wouldn't just like hold it right here. Am I right? Probably. And so what we need to do is not train a freaking like plank, you know, where you put your elbows here and then your head is there, whatever, right? This is like a static exercise, right? You're training your abs, but at the end of the day, right, your abs are still a muscle, okay, and still need to be like treated the same as, let's say, your bicep, okay? You wouldn't do this for a bicep curl because you know that you can get more growth by curling, okay? And so same thing goes for abs, right? And so what we need is literally just a dynamic movement, okay? So you need to be moving throughout your movement, okay? That's step 1, okay? Step 1 is dynamic. I'll just write D-Y-N. Step 2 is it needs to be progressive, like you need to be able to progressively overload on it, okay? And step 3 is gonna be, you need to be able to, what's it called? Well, yeah, I think that's it actually, never mind. So yeah, it basically needs to be dynamic and you need to be able to progressively overload on it. Step 2, so how do we actually train abs, okay? Like we said, it needs to be a dynamic movement. So some exercises you can do. Oh wait, I know, I get into that a bit later. So dynamic just means you're moving, okay? And then you need to be able to progressively overload on it, okay? What do I mean by this is, let's say a plank, right? It isn't a dynamic movement, okay? Let's say a plank was a dynamic movement. You can't really progressively overload on it. Actually, you can put plates, so you can kind of like progressively overload. But maybe on something like, maybe let's say toe to bar. Toe to bar might be a bit of a hard one to progressively overload on because once you do get to a high like number of reps, there's no big point to keep going, right? You got to find a harder exercise. So those are the two main things, right? You need to be able, it needs to be a dynamic movement, okay? And you also need to be able to progressively overload on it, okay? Some exercises that do this well, make sure you like the exercise, okay? That's step 1. Make sure you actually like the exercise you're doing, and also make sure you can actually overload on it. I recently like invented to say this exercise for abs, calling it bend overs. Yeah, and as you can see, you can clearly progressively overload on it. Once this does get too heavy, I'm gonna like put on a weight belt and then literally like, you know, put weight under me so that I'm able to stay stable. But this exercise feels really good, and you also get more range of motion than a regular cable crunch where you're on the floor, right? Because as you can see, like on a cable crunch, you can, wait, where would you go on a cable crunch, right? So the highest range of motion is here on a cable crunch, right? There's this angle of your hips, and then the lowest angle is here, okay? But with this exercise, you're literally getting that much extra range of motion. So instead of going here, we're literally going all the way up here, okay? So clearly, you know, if you have more range of motion, that'll be better because you're also getting the muscle a bit more stretched. And so, yeah, literally just make sure it's an exercise you enjoy, okay? If it's not an exercise you enjoy, I personally really enjoy this exercise, don't do it, okay? Even if it's like the optimalist, okay? And make sure you can progressively overload on it. Step 3, how do we actually program it into our training? I would recommend, no brainer, do it 2 times per week, okay? Literally, like, do it after your leg day, okay? So let's say you did like legs, whatever. You can put it, well, I'll talk about this here, but do it with your leg day and also do it with your, I would say do it with your pull day, okay? I know you're probably on a different split. Maybe you're doing upper lower, maybe you're doing some like movement based split. If so, put it on your like squat day, okay? Or any type of leg day, and put it on your pull day, okay? The reason for this is on pull, you use a little bit more abs than on push. And so if you do it on your pull day, you'll be less fatigued for your push day. And then for legs, if you're training legs 2 times per week, that's already sorted. You don't have to do it on pull. Then you have to figure out the priority itself, right? So this is essentially just how much you want to prioritize abs, okay? Because let's say, you know, you're doing 6 exercises, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you put abs here. You're probably going to be more tired and push further from failure, right? You're not going to push that hard. And so if you can put abs here, let's say, and it doesn't affect these 3 movements, that's the best thing you can do, right? Because let's say, imagine these are maybe like, this maybe is like an isolation, okay, some tricep isolation. Maybe this is like a lateral raise, and then this might be, no idea, maybe it's like a lower back thing, okay, whatever. Just to give you some random example, right? Abs won't really, you know, affect these exercises here. So this is like a very nice place to put abs. So if you can prioritize abs by putting them higher, definitely go ahead and do that. That's very good move. One thing, like, it is a little bit tough though, you know, when you, let's say you have legs, it's like kind of tough where do you actually put abs. I would recommend just don't put them as last, okay? Put something as last where it's something you already hit quite a lot, okay? So let's say for legs, for me, this is usually hamstrings. Like I usually do like RDLs pretty hard. Like I do 3 sets of those. And so my hamstrings are usually pretty cooked already. And so I just go ahead and, you know, do some hamstring curls towards the end of the workout. That's how I like to do it. But honestly, just figure this out and yeah, figure out your priority, where you want to put abs, and choose where you want to put that. One thing I have to say though, for bulking is very good, okay? That's one thing. And because right now, you're probably a teenager watching this. If you're not a teenager, that's kind of weird, but welcome, I guess. So if you're bulking and you're a teenager, you're not going to put on that much fat anyways. So it's going to be a lean bulk by default, okay? And so you're not going to put on that much fat, okay? And so definitely bulk, even if you want to get abs, okay? Like right now, I have my mic taped to me because I don't want to wear a shirt, but if you see, like, my abs aren't that defined right now because, like, I'm pretty peak bulk, even though it doesn't really look like it, right? And so figure out, like, how can I say this? So go ahead and bulk, okay? And still keep on training, okay? Keep on training abs, okay? Don't cut and then train abs because that's a big rookie mistake. You know, your abs aren't going to be there. It's just like any other muscle, you know, you got to grow it. So keep training abs, even if you're bulking, and keep bulking as well. That's what I gotta say. I know this video has helped you, bro, so I want to help you out even more. I have my free community, which is called Calisthenics. It's just in the description with 143 like-minded people where you can get my free course. And I'll also go ahead and help you out personally for free. It's pretty sick, man, to be with 143 like-minded people. It's growing every day, and, you know, it's sick to see, you know, people posting about their wins and everything. So I hope to see you there, bro. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk soon. See you, bro. Keep overloading. Let's get it, bro.